Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Johnson Studio. And today we have another Bible verse study.
It's a discussion.
Joined here today with me, Aaron, and my lovely wife.
My name's Mandy.
So, the verses we have today are Leviticus verse 19 to 25. I will read some, Mandy will read some, and there's also another part of Leviticus I wanted to read about our discussion. And our discussion today is actually about what God says in the Bible about being with your significant other, your wife, while she's on her period. And it was just a question that Mandy had that actually I did not have answers to, so we decided to look it up together and make a video about it. So here we are.
When a woman has a discharge and it consists of blood from her body, she will be unclean because of her menstruation for 7 days. Everyone who touches her will be unclean until evening. And then she lies on during her menstruation will become unclean, and then she sits on will become unclean. Everyone who touches her bed is to wash his clothes and bathe with water, and he will remain unclean until evening. Everyone who touches any furniture she was sitting on is to wash his clothes and bathe with water, and he will remain unclean until evening. If discharge is on the bed or the furniture she was sitting on, when he touches it, he will be unclean until evening.
If a man sleeps with her and blood from her menstruation gets on him, he will be unclean for 7 days, and every bed he lies on will become unclean. When a woman has a discharge of her blood for many days, though it is not the time of her menstruation, or if she has a discharge beyond her period, she will be unclean all the days of her unclean discharge, as she is during the days of her menstruation. That's pretty much the meat of it, pretty much saying you will be considered unclean. Even the woman with her discharge is considered unclean until that point. I would like to point out a big part of that uncleanliness was for the rituals that the Israelites had back in the Old Testament. Where they used to, I believe it was called the tabernacle. It was like the most holy. Was it a place or an idol? See, I don't know. I don't know all the answers to the Bible.
I think it was a place.
Is it a place?
Because when you talk about how if you step into one of the buildings, they would automatically die or something.
Yeah, that's what it says in the Bible. Like anybody who did not keep these laws would die in the presence of the tabernacle. Like I don't know if it means like in the presence of the item or in the place. That I have to just keep looking up. I will put the answer somewhere on top of the video. It'll be somewhere. They would not only have to keep these laws because, for some people, it would be considered like really dirty if you don't wash yourself. It even points out in some verses that we skipped over. It was saying pretty much the same things over and over again. If a woman has her menstruation, if it touches the bed or touches furniture, if it touches anything or blood gets on anything, it's considered unclean. That goes on for pretty much until verse 31. So, gist of it, if she's on her period, it's considered unclean. But for the discussion part of it, I don't know if it's considered unclean nowadays. Because it never said it was a sin. Like, it said unclean to pretty much go to a certain place of worship.
Mm-hmm.
That's honestly the whole point that we have these videos.
It doesn't sound like it's a sin. It just sounds like if you want to be present as a tabernacle, you have to clean yourself, basically.
Pretty much.
So you don't die. It's like a warning.
Yeah. Not only that, but it also, earlier in Leviticus, it also says anything about a man who secretes semen out their body, like it's like sometimes that just happens.
Mm-hmm.
Or, if a man has sex with a woman, like they would be considered unclean because of the semen that's secreted out of them. And they wouldn't be able to go to the tabernacle without doing the ritual of cleaning themselves for a certain period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with giving birth. If a woman gives birth to a child, if I remember correctly, she is not allowed to go to the tabernacle. Like she has to do her cleansing ritual for a total of 33 days if it's a boy and 66 days if it's a female. That's the way it was. Honestly, the reason we're bringing all this up, for me personally, is that a lot of people get hooked on the Old Testament and the rituals, but they kind of nitpick about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just trying to go through and be like, well, because in Leviticus, everybody whoever like keeps those laws to like a T, like keep those uncleanliness laws to a T, they would have to give up any kind of shellfish. Shellfish was considered unclean. Pork, pretty much.
No bacon.
So no bacon. What else? Again, all this stuff was referring to the tabernacle, but
I'm trying to remember just something else.
I know you couldn't eat pork. You couldn't eat shellfish. You pretty much couldn't be on your period at all. Like if you wanted to go see the tabernacle, you just wouldn't be able to go. Or I mean, you could go, but you would die.
Did it say how long you have to clean after your period?
It says once your period is over, you have to take a moment of 7 days before you can re-enter. Like as for the guy, like if a guy has relationships with a woman and he gets blood on him, which I'm pretty sure that's going to happen if you have a relationship with somebody on that period. No getting over that. But when that does happen, the guy is supposed to immediately take a shower or a bath. It says wash yourself thoroughly, and then pretty much don't come to the tabernacle for 7 days to purify your body. So 7 days it was, and a woman, I believe, once her menstruation is over, she's supposed to wait 7 days after that. Again, there's a whole bunch of other stuff in there that was and honestly still is considered unclean.
It just seems impossible to me because no one's perfect.
No, it wasn't. It's not talking about you have to do this every day.
Well, what I'm talking about was a discharge, like just when a man discharge. I mean, that happens.
Yeah,
like
he would have to stay home.
Yeah,
that's literally just all it's saying. It doesn't have to. It's not necessarily saying you can't or you're not supposed to do this or.
Well, no. What I was saying is that with some males, they just leak. Oh,
I'm saying that if it does, when and if it does happen, you're not just don't go to the tabernacle. Like it's not saying like, oh, you're gonna go like to hell if you die and you did this. It's just like saying don't go to the tabernacle, because if you are secreting semen at that moment and you decide to go to church, you pretty much die.
Is that the same thing from women too?
Like yeah, that's the same thing. Like just stay home. Just don't go into the presence of the tabernacle.
Because I know some women we get discharged daily, so I guess we just don't go.
Man, yeah, I don't know if it mean for y'all. It didn't say anything about like actual discharge. It said discharge of the blood, which meant period. Like if you're on your period, you stay home. But yeah, that's another thing to talk about. If y'all want to go down in the comments and discuss anything y'all find, we'll be happy to read. Just a warning: we may read it, but that doesn't mean we necessarily agree with everything people put on the internet. So,
and also this discussion. What we're saying is we're not saying that this is what it is.
Yeah, we're just talking about it, trying to dissect the Bible to understand it more. Like, if you want to understand God, He left you the words. He left you His words specifically. And that's all I'm trying to do. Yeah, I hope to have a journey along with you guys to find that truth. I did want to end it off with reading a few more verses. The very end of Leviticus chapter 15 is verse 31 to 33. And it says, "You must keep the Israelites from their uncleanness, so that they do not die by defiling my tabernacle that is among them. This is a law for someone with a discharge, a man who has an emission of semen, becoming unclean by it, a woman who is in her menstrual period, anyone who has a discharge, whether male or female, and a man who sleeps with a woman who is unclean." So, again, just wanted to point that out again. It says it right here, at least from what I understand from reading it, that these laws for uncleanliness was so that they do not die by defiling his tabernacle. It says right there, this is a law for someone with a discharge. Like it's literally saying like, hey, if you have the discharge, this is the law you have to obey to come into the presence of the tabernacle again. So if a man discharged or a woman discharged or a man sleeps with a woman who has a discharge, this is just the laws they have to obey by. He literally gave us instructions what to do to get clean. So me personally, I don't see anything wrong with it. I know there's a base by base bias about the situation. It's like I don't see anything wrong with it if you want to sleep with your spouse and they're on their period.
It's a personal thing.
Yeah.
Like so they talk to your spouse about.
Yeah.
If they're comfortable.
If you have health concerns with the action of actually doing it during your period, take showers, wear condoms. Don't do it if you really have issues with just having sex on the period. If you or her have issues, just don't do it. It's kind of like going with birth control. Like the most 100% birth control is just not having sex at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the most 100% of being completely sure and careful is just to not do it at all on your period.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. So that was our little discussion about what the Bible says about having sex on your period. We thank you guys for joining us. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And again, if you have anything for us to discuss, please feel free to leave it down in the comments below. We'll see you on the flip side. Have a dandy day.